to our Friday edition of For the Win. I'm Jacqueline Ferris with Avon Molinar. Avon,
Yeah.
we made it to Friday.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness, Jacqueline. Am I right?
TGIF sports fans.
TGIF is something I will chant from the rooftops if I have to.
Absolutely. You know what else, though, is exciting?
What's that?
Because honestly, nobody would expect us to be saying this again, but it's time for the Winter Paralympics. Olympics. More Olympics.
More Olympics.
Actually, the Paralympics, though, the 2026 Milan Cortina Paralympics have begun. We had 665 athletes are going to be competing in 79 different medal events across 6 different sports. Isn't that cool?
What sports are we looking at, Jacqueline?
We have some really great ones. We have para-alpine skiing, para-biathlon, para-cross-country skiing, para-snowboarding, sled hockey, which I've seen with my own eyes, and it is next level hockey. And then wheelchair curling. I actually watched some of this today because I do believe they began the curling events on Wednesday.
Well, should we go over some para-alpine skiing real quick? Just to
We should.
get in contact with our inner Olympian, if you will. So,
Yes.
there are a few events to get the men's combined, the men's downhill, men's giant slalom, men's slalom sitting, men's super G sitting, women's combined, women's downhill, women's giant slalom, and women's super G, which I think is a lot. Now, there are some classifications with this, so you're either standing, sitting, or vision impaired.
Yes.
So for standing, athletes are classified based off their type of impairment, either the legs or arms or both, and the severity of their impairment. Along with sitting, athletes are classified based on their level of trunk and hip control, and then the vision impaired. So athletes are classified based on their level of vision. And all athletes compete alongside a sighted guide who gives verbal instructions. Jacqueline,
Yes.
you said you're very familiar with this realm, right?
I am pretty familiar. I actually have helped cross-train some Paralympians myself. I was trying to think of which Olympics they would have participated in. I know Rio for sure, because here in Oklahoma City, we have a lot of Paralympic and Olympic athletes that train, whether they're training at UCO for sitting volleyball or the boathouse for all the rowing and canoe kayak events.
So what kind of goes into training a Paralympian?
They are training.
Is it the same? I guess it's the same way. Okay.
It is to have their own workout accommodation, but if you think about it like any other athlete, it's not really an accommodation, or more like a personalized training plan. You know what I mean? Because the way you train for something isn't going to be totally identical with how your teammate trains for something, even if it's the same sport. Even if it's just simple routine changes, but that's just granular stuff. But it's a year-round deal, and just like the Olympians, they're paying their way for really all of it unless they have been lucky enough to acquire sponsors. But unfortunately, with Paralympics, it's even harder to get those sponsor dollars.
Which is kind of crazy, don't you think?
It is. And did you know, I don't think we covered it in the pretty graphic, but this Paralympics is, it's a shorter, more comprised. It's not like the whole 2 weeks of the Olympics. I want to say this is 9 days.
9 days, yes. It should go to the 14th.
15th closing ceremony.
15th is closing ceremony.
Yeah,
okay, so the games compete until
that Sunday. They may I bet you're right. I bet they wrap everything up that Saturday, and then closing ceremony on Sunday. But actually, the opening ceremony started even right before our show, I believe. I think it was 1:30 Eastern time.
So it's 12, sort of a couple hours ago? Yeah.
Probably wrapping up now-ish, one would think. But I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, what's the event you're most excited to watch? Or cover, for that matter?
I'm probably most excited to see Paris snowboarding.
Okay.
And fun fact, interesting fact, for instance, with Paris snowboarding, their classifications are a little bit different, as they are different with all of the events.
So is each classification going to be different per sport then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And and some of it, interestingly, is because of the amount of athletes to pull from.
I mean,
Specifically,
665. Like,
yeah. So para female snowboarding, there's less classifications because there's less para female snowboarders to pull from.
So you're saying there's like one or two then, realistically speaking, or
You know, I really don't know. I don't know,
Okay.
but
I mean,
if you
we'll do a
think about
research, but-
if you think about it though, you know, how many people are as good as Shaun White,
well, that's not fair.
right? But if you think about it, like, think of the amount of people that are good enough to be considered to qualify for the Olympics that are able-bodied, right? And
Yeah,
so
there's
think
like,
how
what,
small that's not even that big of
Yeah.
a group of elite athletes. And so then to be a para athlete, I mean, the pool is that much smaller,
No, I didn't think about that. Like,
you
you
know?
don't really think about
I mean, I thought about all
that.
these things as we were putting this rundown together.
Really, because I was like, oh wow, this is all these events, all that other stuff, and then every other sport that was going through my mind
Yeah.
that we were actively watching. I actually,
And
while we were doing
honestly,
this.
para events is very new.
Like
Just
within
new.
the last like 10 years, or like
You know, we should look that up, but I want to say within the last 50 years, for sure, because the ADA wasn't even a thing. You know, I think it was new in my lifetime.
Huh.
Maybe right before, maybe the 70s. But I think it's pretty new. I think it's pretty new. I would bet you even maybe, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look into this. But
Definitely look
the
into it.
exciting part, though, even, I think we're going to be covering this all next week.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
And we'll
sure.
break down the different events and all the good stuff, just like we did for the Olympics. We'll do it for the Paralympics. Let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, a little more Olympics, but then Thunder basketball. Welcome back to For the Win. I'm Jacqueline Ferris with Avon Molinar, and guess what, Avon?
What?
You did some really quick Googling. You're really good at that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You do a great job. But when did you find out that the Paralympics began?
Yeah, so they were originated around World War II. About 1948 is when, with the Stoke, I just forgot his name. I don't have the thing pulled up anymore.
I know, I put you on the hot seat.
But it's about 76-ish years old,
Okay.
and was definitely something to help World War II veterans, stay in shape after they've suffered these tragic injuries due to war.
Yeah.
And so it just helps them kind of get back on their feet and have something to do. And then it evolved over time and has been around since.
That's really cool. And so it really was, I mean, it's not been a forever thing. Like, because you think of the Olympic, when I think of the Olympics, I think of,
Ancient Greece, you
Yeah.
think of
you know,
1923, yeah, like
I
when
do.
they
I
had
think
the
of like
first
Greek
really big,
gladiators. I honestly think of the, the crown of,
the laurel crown,
I do when I think of like Olympics. And so that's really cool that I guess it really was brought on with the return of soldiers from World War II.
I mean, it makes sense.
The more you know.
Definitely is not something you think of, though. Right?
I know.
Like,
But it's pretty cool.
it is very cool.
It's very cool. So just to close the chapter on this section, we covered para-alpine skiing. First event we are covering for this year's 2026 Winter Paralympics. There are 10 different para-alpine skiing events in 3 separate categories. Will be contested within each event. In total, there are 30 sets of medals to be awarded in the para-alpine skiing, and I'm going to run through them real quick. Men's combined, men's downhill, men's giant slalom, men's slalom sitting, men's super G sitting, and then we have women's combined, downhill, giant slalom, and super G as well. Because of course the ladies can also do super G.
Of course. Why not?
But that's really awesome, and I look forward to continuing the Paralympic conversation on Monday. Or I think we may cover, I don't know, should we go, which one should we do? Para biathlon on Monday. Let's do that.
Okay, I'll keep that noted.
Should we go Thunder basketball now?
Let's go
though?
Thunder basketball real quick. So, play Golden State this weekend. Tomorrow. in Oklahoma City at 7:30. Be there, be square.
Oh, I would love to go to that game.
The Thunder are trying to earn their 50th win of the season when they played Golden State. We were 34-9 in conference matchups. Oklahoma City has a record of 3-6 in games decided by 3 points or fewer. Now the Warriors are 22-19. Golden State is third in the league with about 29.2 assists per game. They're definitely spreading the ball a lot. Got to be on that. Be wary of certain players defensively. And I think we'll be A-okay. We're, averaging 118.9 points per game, nearly 120 points per game, which is essentially outshooting everyone else.
Sure.
So we got to love that.
Great.
But with, as usual, there's injuries.
But I was going to say, but
there's injuries. And this could have changed before I last put it in.
Because that happens to
It
us.
does happen to us a lot. So as of right now, Cruz has day-to-day. AJ Mitchell is day-to-day with an abdomen injury. Brandon Carlson day-to-day with his back. And Dub out with his hamstring. Ihart is day-to-day with his calf. So we'll really find out.
A lot of day to day.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's just how the world's been working for us.
Day to day.
Unfortunately.
Well, I'm still feeling consistent with them, and I'm believing in that W, even.
Good, you should. A W against the Warriors, always a good thing.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
Should we take that break we need to take?
Let's
Just
take that
it, and we come back. College basketball. Welcome back to For the Win. I'm Jacqueline Ferris with Avon Molinar. And Avon, dude, we made it to Friday. If I'm being honest, it's feeling sporty.
Thank goodness. It actually really is. It really is.
We can't deny that it's a good sports Friday. We watched a little basketball behind on our break with Holden Cruzmark, the real sports guy.
What? We're real sports people.
It wasn't a lot of great basketball. But
Still isn't, Jacqueline.
Is it still bad news? We still getting bad news out there?
Jacqueline, it's 86-57 in the OU game right now.
Whew. Whew.
Yeah, both of our teams are going to be out of the tournament.
Okay, well, so
Maybe we shouldn't pop these graphics.
Let's just start with Sooners versus Florida. How about that?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to change that.
How about that?
So we played them yesterday. We beat them yesterday, which is really good. Really good. Really good win, 82-64. Beat number 12, going to play LSU. However, we're losing against LSU right now, 86-57. Really bad stuff, Jacqueline.
There's nothing you can really say about that. But
No,
that's
you can't.
Quite tragic.
Started at 130, and it just has gone downhill from there.
Right. Good hustle.
I will say that's another thing. I wanted to point that out. That is one of the most hustle-intense games I think I've seen in ladies college basketball.
Oh well, at least that's good.
No, that's one of the positives for sure. But it was, yikes, not good.
Poke in the eye. How was it for the Cowgirls? Was it equally exciting? Because something tells me it was.
Sure, we can say that if we want to say that.
So honestly, no kidding aside, we know both games were bad, but I'm throwing you a curveball because I think we should discuss really the most exciting element of both games.
What's that?
You up for it? You don't even know where I'm going.
I don't know where you're going with this.
The most exciting part of both games you and I watched was the court.
Yes.
Let's talk about that Big 12 court.
I don't know where to begin.
So we've talked about it earlier weeks.
Mm-hmm. How they're going to use it. Yeah.
And I think it's really great for. Let's be honest, it's a great marketing tool.
Oh, for sure.
I love marketing. I've worked in marketing for years and years. It's great. But what do you think that would be like? Because what we were seeing on the TV, we were seeing reflection on the athletes. We were seeing constant color change during game, like ball play. We've heard the texture's different. We've heard that it feels different to your body, that the absorption is different. I don't know. I think it could make we have no idea, but do you think it played a factor in the games?
Yes.
It's a brand new experience.
There was a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of falling, but there was more falling than I was intending. More than you would normally see with the traction that is on a normal basketball court, depending on how dirty the court is.
And we heard about, we've heard that the text, they had to add synthetic texture. I mean, But no matter, I mean, it's not the same
No.
wood, and what I assume is some sort of resin lacquer court.
Yeah, and then if what you said was
Synthetic
true
material.
beforehand, and if the people that tested out felt like it was more healthier for their knees,
Yeah.
which would make kind of sense because there'd be more slack give when they go to run and stuff like that. It wouldn't just be like that, like this the whole time. It would
Right.
be like that. In theory, I don't really know what it's made of. We just know it looks cool.
It looked really
It
cool.
looks cool.
It looked
Except
cool.
for their uniform combinations. That did not look cool. That did not help.
No, it did. It was kind of strange because they used, honestly, a lot of gray and gradient transitions on the court
Mhm.
with what we saw today with the OSU
K-State
and,
game, yeah.
and Sooner, or just
Yeah.
OSU.
You're good.
The
You're good.
Sooners just had that boring court, but
Still, another
So,
factor.
another
Boring court. What are we doing?
But anyways, I don't know. I think Holden Cruzmark agrees with us. We cannot wait to hear what the athletes have to say post
Mm-hmm.
about what that experience was like because yeah, they probably got a little warm-up practice maybe the day before, even 2 days before, sure, maybe 2 practices on that court. But that was a brand new environment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Guess we'll find out.
food for thought.
Food for that.
Totally derailed that conversation, but it was the best part of both those games.
For sure. For sure.
Let's take a quick break because we have to. But when we come back, I'm sure we're going to talk college baseball. Welcome back to For the Win. I'm Jacqueline Ferris with Avon Molinar. And Avon, we have some major college baseball going on this weekend in Norman and Stillwater. We have Santa Clara visiting Norman. And who do we got visiting Stillwater?
Gardner Webb. Let's take
And
a look at this graphic real quick that I made
both
here.
our series, OU 4-game, OSU 3-game. Hoping no games are rained out.
Yeah, so OU just started that this 4-game series on Thursday where they beat Santa Clara in that first game 2-1. They played tonight at 6:30, tomorrow at 2 p.m., and then Sunday at 1 p.m. And then OU facing the Gardner Webb, I believe that's a Bulldog, tonight at 6, tomorrow at 2, and then on Sunday at 1 p.m. So I'm sure if you want to pop up that YouTube TV, have 2 different baseball games on at the same time, this weekend, kick back, relax. After Jacqueline watches her soccer games.
Little picture-in-picture.
Exactly. Bing, bang, boom. A lot of sports going on, so you better enjoy it.
And I actually love that it's college sports. There's nothing better than college athletics.
Mm-hmm. OU is 11-2, and Santa Clara is 5-6. So whoever wins these games, gonna add a lot to that win column or loss column for that matter.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be very interesting to see kind of what they go through and all that other stuff.
So, who do you have your money on?
OU
For sure.
and OSU for the other games. That's not
Okay.
just a bias thing. It's just the team's
It's
good.
just going to shake out that way.
And if it doesn't, that's fine. But I mean, look at the stints they've had in the past that we've covered. I mean,
You mean the 20-0 and then the 1-0?
yeah, exactly. Like the 16-4, all those other scores, all these major runs from these teams. Like
And the season just started.
the season, yeah.
We just started spring ball.
we're only a month in.
Yeah.
Like
There's enough time.
we have to go to the
Some
summer.
bases to be
We have to go
ran.
We have to go literally till like June.
I
Like
can't
we've
wait.
got a lot to do.
I'm not going to argue you on it, but we are going to be back on Monday, even. That's what they say.
Is that what they say?
And we're going to cover absolutely more of the 2026 Winter Paralympics, Thunder basketball, college basketball, definitely softball. We'll do it all. We'll see you then Monday at 3 o'clock for another episode of For the Win.